Okay guys, this is it. This is my 40th review. Well, technically, I've made closer to 60 reviews, considering all the reviews I never uploaded or deleted. And there was the April Fool's review, so that makes this the 41st one that's on YouTube. But who da beep cares? Because today is a special day. I'll be reviewing a special game for my special 40th review. Special. Did I mention special? And that game will be Spyro 2. Ripto's Rage! As usual, I'm going to talk about the history of the game. Wait. Random person who gets my images? Yes. You got the image for Spyro 3, you idiot! It's supposed to be Spyro 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Change it. Right now. Please? Anyway, Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, also known as Spyro 2 Gateway to Glimmer in Europe, as well as Spyro 2, Spyro DOS, Spyro 2, Spyro Zwei, Spyro any other European word for 2, and in Japan as Spyro and Sparks Tondomo Tours. Anyway, this game started development sometime after the first game, and then it was released in 1999. Well, March 2000 in Japan, but whatever. But anyway, the game received many positive reviews, so that makes you want to play the game. And trust me, I will. And the game was released on the PSN store in 2007 for Europe, but it had a few glitches because some levels wouldn't load, so they had to take it down. 2008 in Japan, 2009 in North America, and 2012 for its re-release in Europe, which was the North American version. For some reason, I'll be playing the North American version because, you know, I'll be playing on PSN. But anyway, enough talking, let's review the game. Well, I'm reviewing the game. If you want to review the game, that's fine with me, but I'm reviewing the game right now, so shush! And by the way, I like calling it Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage Way to Glimmer, because it's a mixture of the European and the North American title, and it sounds cool. Anyway, on to the review! And here are all of the game's original release dates, except for the original European and PSN release. So, yeah. I hope you learned a bit more, considering I forgot to mention this stuff in the previous bit. The story of the game starts off in the Dragon Realms, and it's raining, and guess what? Spyro and Sparks are very happy about this.
Is rain ever gonna stop? I've forgotten what the sun looks like.
Wait, stop right there, stop. Spyro forgot what the sun looks like. Spyro forgot what the sun looked like. Spyro, the mother beeping dragon, forgot what the beeping sun. Then Spyro finds a portal to Dragon Shores, a bright sunny place called Dragon Shores. Yeah, I already mentioned that, but who cares? Anyway, in this world of Avalar, it turns out that there is this evil guy named Ripto who wants to steal all the orbs and to take over this land called Avalar and turn it into Riptonia. Then Allura the Four tells the fairy to take the orbs away, he had to separate them, and then it's a race between Spyro and Ripto to see who can get all of the orbs first. And Ripto makes something very clear at the beginning of the game.
Dragons!
Doing summer force, okay?
So it's up to Spyro to save Avalar and defeat Ripto because of the story in the game is actually a big improvement over the last game. First off, it's told more interestingly. Second, it's more interesting. Third, you see the story a lot more. And fourth, it's not as simple and it just works perfectly. So, yeah. On to the gameplay. Spyro 2, like its predecessor, is a 3D platformer, but there are quite a few differences from the first game, and oh boy, I'm going to explain everything right now. First off is a very minor change. Now in the first game, every level would have a different amount of gems, but in this game, every level has 400 gems. That's what I have to say. Every single level has 400 gems. No exceptions. Except for the bosses and Dragon Shores, but they don't count. Now before each level, the game will basically have a little story for each level. So basically every single level in the game has a subplot, which is quite interesting, and even if you don't care about the cutscenes, you can skip them. Plus, you can talk to a character at the beginning of the level who basically tells you the mini-story of the level, and once you beat the level, you basically do what they want you to do, and then you get another cutscene. So, yeah, it's pretty different to the original game, where each level literally had no purpose but to save dragons. One of the new power-ups in this game is the talismans. Well, they're not power-ups, they're just collectibles. Whenever you reach the end of a level, the characters at the end of the level will give you one, and there are 14 of them in the whole game, and once you collect all of them in one hub world, you can fight the boss of that world. Speaking of bosses, the bosses in this game are great. There are a total of 3 bosses in the game: Crush, Gulp, who are Ripto's minions, and last but not least, there's Ripto himself, who was named after the Japanese spelling for Spyro. And the fight with Ripto is just epic. I mean, there's some cool music, it's challenging, it's tough, and while it can be a bit annoying, it's a great final battle, and I just love it. And there's even 3 phases, so that's kind of cool, I guess.
I hate dragons!
And in the level Metropolis, there's a fight with this ball thing, and yeah, he's possibly the weakest boss in the game, but he's not even a main boss, so whatever. And in case you wanted to see it, here's the fight with Gulp! And just like Crush and Ripto, he is a really cool boss, and yeah. I don't have to say too much anymore, so whatever. Gems also returned from the first game, and they work the same as before, but there are a few differences. First off, the gems that give you 5 are now the purple gems, and the gems that give you 25 are not blue. In fact, they're pink. Okay. But the biggest difference with the gems is this. Basically, there's this big bear guy named Moneybags, and he wants money. And what you've got to do is you've got to pay him money. And if you pay him money, you can unlock levels, make bridges or pathways through levels so that you get through the levels. And this fairy called Zoe, it is basically the checkpoint system, even though that has nothing to do with the gems. And gems even give Spyro some new abilities. Well, that's if you pay Moneybags and beep.
Or you could just be a dirty, skanky little cheater, couldn't you?
But not in the Chinese version.
It's my face and the camera.
Then there are the orbs, which you're supposed to be getting as well. Basically, you get these orbs by doing challenges for people. For example, in the third world, they basically replace the talismans from the first 2 worlds. And by the way, there are only 3 worlds in this game, so That's something I had to mention. But other orb challenges can be a little bit more, well, frustrating. For example, in Cloud Temples, you have to go on this stealth mission where there's this guy that you have to follow, but he mustn't see you. Now, first off, I hate these types of missions in games anyway, but what makes this one special is that you have to stay so close to him, but not too close. It's just so annoying. And if he spots you, there are no checkpoints. It's instantly back to the beginning. And the pattern that he goes in is just so annoying. And, oh my god, it's just... Unless you know exactly what you're doing and if you learn his pattern, this guy is beeping frustrating. Another really annoying mission, which is kind of like 2 missions in one, is basically we have to kill these rock monsters in Fracture Hills. First, you need to guide this guy to Hunter. Now, when I was playing through this game normally, in the non-Japanese version, I didn't really have that much trouble because, you know, I had the Super Flame, or the Infinite one. But in the Japanese version, I had to suffer. And there are 2 things that make this mission really annoying. First off, this goat walks in the most erratic patterns. It's just so annoying. And second off, the camera. The camera is so annoying. This guy just walks all over the place and you never know where he's going to go. And it's just so annoying. Once you get to the end, the alchemist will free Hunter, who must have had a bad fur day because his colour palette's wrong. And Hunter will give you an orb, and then you and Hunter can fight off these really annoying enemies. And this bit is annoying. First off, you need the head bash, which you don't get until the 3rd world. So basically, this is one of the places we have to backtrack to. And what you have to do is you've got to kill them by head bashing, but here's the catch. First off, Hunter's pattern is, once again, really annoying. And second off, these guys get up way too fast. If you're too slow, they will get up and then you'll have to do the whole thing all over again. And since Hunter's pattern is so annoying, this bling sucks. And it's just so annoying. But luckily there aren't any missions that are annoying as these 2. But this one's more annoying. Actually, I lied to all of you. Enter Electro. You know what? That joke wasn't funny. So, let's do that again. Enter Scorch, where Greta and Handel are on a super secret spy mission. And they're trying to blow up a castle, and Greta's English is very bad. And you basically have to open the doors for her and get to Handel. But that's not the hard bit. No, the main level is actually not that hard. The hard bit is the mission that Handel gives you. Once you reach Handel, he does not give you, you know, the talisman because Greta does. What you gotta do is you gotta get the super breath ability by killing 20 enemies, and that's another thing that I'll go on into later on in the game. And even if you do have the infinite super breath, you still gotta kill 20 enemies, which is annoying. But anyway, once you collect all 20 of those sparkly thingies that you get from enemies, the game will give you the super breath. And basically, there are flags that you put up in the levels. Well, except if you know, use the double jump to skip through anything. But anyway, you will basically find a thief on top of the flag, and he will steal the flag. Well, not on top of the flag, but on top of the pole with the flag. And then this Arabian thief, who doesn't have as good of an Indian voice as Taj from Diddy Kong Racing, you'll have to chase him. And this chase is annoying. He throws these bombs everywhere, and if you get hit by one, it's so annoying. You have to do everything all over again, as in the chase. And guess what? Once you've got one down, there's still another two, and you have to go an even further distance, and oh my god, this mission is so frustrating. The real power-ups from the game come from these pole thingies. Basically, the pole thingies have a number, and you need to collect these sparkly things. And to collect these sparkly things, you basically have to murder every single enemy that's in your way. Or at least as many as the thingy requires you to, which can sometimes be half the enemies in the level, but other times it can be almost all of the enemies in the level. But thankfully, killing these enemies isn't really much of a chore. Once you've collected the required amount of thingies, this special power will be activated, and there's a bunch of them. First off, it's the Super Flame, which is like the normal flame, except that it has a very long reach, and it's super powerful, and you can break almost anything with it. Well, except for the scenery, but hey, whatever. And then returning from the first game is predictable joke coming, the Supercharge!
Supercharge?
The Supercharge basically works the same as it does in Spyro 1. The only difference is that you can't actually increase your speed with the Supercharge, and it's only used for silly orb challenges and not getting to really tough to reach areas. So there's no reason to master the Supercharge.
Supercharge?
And then there's the Ice Breath, which only appears in one level, and you'll never guess what it does. You'll never ever guess what it does. It makes Spyro breathe ice balls or snowballs which freeze enemies, and wait, you guessed that straight away? Oh, that sucks. Then there's the shield, which basically makes you invincible to all hazards on the floor, even though it doesn't make you invincible to enemies, which kinda sucks, but whatever, maybe it does. I just don't really pay enough attention to realise this beat. Last but not least is the Super Glide, and I think that it's obvious on what that does, and if it's not, then you're kind of beeping stupid. And hopefully this song will tell you what it does, sort of. Whoops! I'd also like to mention that Speedways return in this game. Well, they're called Speedways in this game, they were called Flights in the first game, but anyway, they're basically the same as they were in the first game, but there are a couple of differences, such as Spyro can now have a permanent supercharge in the arena, and there's always a secret challenge in these arenas, and twice it's Hunter and twice it's with some random NPCs, where you basically have to shoot around the entire place, which is pretty fun. It's not always shooting around the place, but it definitely has to do with flying, I can tell you that. I'd also like to mention that in the level Metropolis, there is a Super Breath mixed with Super Fly, which basically turns Spyro into the dragon equivalent of Jesus, which is pretty awesome. Like I mentioned before, Spyro has some new abilities in this game, but in order to get them, you have to pay gems to money bags. I mean, imagine if you wanted to learn something in real life and you had to pay someone a lot of money. Just imagine. Hey, can you teach me how to walk? Yeah, but only if you pay me $5,000 US. Well, beep you, I'll learn how to walk somewhere else. I hate that guy, he is so mean. See that dragonfly right by you? Yeah, that's Sparks. He is basically your health, so kind of think of him like Aku Aku, but not quite the same. When he's sparkling gold, you've got full health, which means that you have 4 hits until you die. When he's blue, you have 3 hits left. When he's green, you have 2 hits left. And if you get hit while he's green, he's gone. And if you get hit when Sparks isn't with you, you're gone. Nice and beeping simple. you can restore your health, thankfully, by killing little innocent animals by either charging into them or burning them to death. Which will give Sparks a butterfly, which will make him appear. And if he's not with you, he will just turn green once you get a butterfly. So yeah, that's nice and simple. Luckily, if you press circle, 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 square, you'll get all of the abilities. And these abilities include swimming, which is basically what it sounds like. And it's cool that Spyro learned how to swim from a guy who made him pay a lot of money to swim, considering that he couldn't swim in the last game. And Spyro can also use a head bash. And hopefully it's obvious what that does. You can break things with your head bash. And last but not least is climbing, which is exactly what it sounds like. You can only climb onto metal bars though, which kinda sucks, but hey, whatever. As for controls, this is how the controls work. To jump, press X. To glide, press X while in the air. And to charge, hold down square, and to breathe fire, hold circle, which is usually the same as it is in Spyro 1, but once you play the infinite super breath, it really is infinite. And even if you go on a new file, it will come with you. But anyway, as for the new things, there's the water, which Spyro will no longer drown in. In order to go down into the water, press square and hold down square while in the water to swim really quickly. And just like you know in the Japanese version, you have to rapidly mash square to swim, and that's really annoying. You can also dive in using triangle, and yeah. And you can use a super breath underwater, but not the normal breath, so I'll mention that. To head bash, you press triangle while in the air, but although you can't do it while gliding, you have to do a hover thing, which was also added into this game. Press triangle while in the air. Well, while gliding, but whatever. And there's even a glitch control in this game, and that is the double jump. Now, I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not holding any directions on your analog stick. Then you want to jump. And then quickly you want to press the charge button. If done correctly, you'll do an even higher jump. Which is actually really helpful and really cool. Which was removed in the Japanese version of the game and Spyro 3. Which does kind of suck. But it does practically break the game. So it makes sense. The controls practically work perfectly in the game. The game is fast, it's fluent, it's responsive, and it just controls great. And once you learn how to use a double jump, man, it's so satisfying, just breaking parts of the game, and it's just, oh, it's so satisfying with the double jump, doing all those glitches. I just love the double jump. The controls are practically perfect, and yeah, that's all I have to say about the controls. They're some of the best I've experienced in a game. I'd also like to quickly mention that there's a map feature in the game which you can turn off, and it's off from the start except for playing the Japanese version where it's on from the start but you can turn it off, so that's something that I just thought I should have mentioned. The graphics in the game are great, and an improvement over the graphics in the original game. The game's bright, it's colourful, Spyro's model has heavily been upgraded since the first game. All of the textures, all of the characters, all of the enemies, everything looks nice in this game. This is one of the best looking games on the system, and it's just so nice to look at. If there's one thing I will say is that there were times when I experienced a few glitchy textures and the frame rate sometimes drops. But other than that, the graphics in this game are just absolutely great. The music in this game is just great as well. The first game had a great soundtrack, and this game does not disappoint in the soundtrack. The soundtrack is great, it's catchy, it's upbeat, there are no songs I don't like. overall, the soundtrack is just great. And the sunny beach theme, man, that's such a catchy theme. I mean, just listen to it. As for the sound effects, I will say that most of the sound effects that were in the first game do return in the second game, maybe except for the ring sound effect, which actually does sound different, and maybe the portally whirlwind thingies. And all the new sound effects fit perfectly as well, and they're also quite good. And the voice acting is a huge improvement over the original, and that is something I'm saying with all my heart. And as for the dialogue...
Thank you for releasing me.
Are there any bad things about the game? Well, there aren't really that many. Surely there are a few annoying orb missions, but that's about it. The difficulty is practically perfect in this game. But if there is one problem I have to make about the game, other than the fact that it's extremely glitchy, it's the camera. The camera can be so annoying sometimes, especially in some of the orb missions and boss fights. The camera's never fixed. It always moves around with Spyro, and it's just so annoying in this game. It wasn't perfect in the first game either, but especially when you're doing orb challenges, it can be really annoying. And when you're fighting bosses, and you're allowed to hit the people who you might be doing an orb challenge with, which may sound logical, but it's so annoying because in this minigame, I can't tell you how many times I could have got a thingy, but Hunter stopped me because I accidentally hit him. It's just so annoying, but other than that, there's only one more bad thing that I can think about this game, and that is that in order to fight Ripto, you need 40, that's right, 40 out of the 64 orbs. That is just so annoying. I mean, imagine if you're playing Crash 3, and then you collected all 25 power crystals, then you went to Cortex, and then you found out you need to get, I don't know, 31 gems and 23 crystals. Relics, stupid me. But, 23 crystals would be nice. I mean, that would just be so annoying. Gems should be secondary power-ups, 100% completion, not something that is mandatory. That is just so annoying, and while it's not that hard getting all the orbs, they should still be 100% secondary and not mandatory. But other than those two things, and by the way, the camera is kinda inverted, but I'm not going to complain, because that was just a joke last time, and I'm not using it again. This game is practically near perfection. The graphics are great, if not a little glitchy sometimes. The music's great, the controls are great. This game is just a perfect sequel. This is how you make sequels, guys. The bosses are great, unlike in the last game. And overall, it's just such a fun game. And the exploits are fun in this game as well. Such as the before mentioned double jump, which completely ruins the game. In fact, as for the length of this game, it really depends. I mean, if you're going for 40 orbs, I didn't really test that out. You can just do that for yourself. I beat the game in like 50 minutes, but I used the Ripto skip for that. And if you're really, really good at the game and you know what you're doing, you can literally beat the game in less than 10 minutes. And as for 100%, That should take you a solid day, unless you're really good, and where you can just beat the game in like 2 hours or less, 100%. And yeah, this is the swimming in the air glitch, another exploit in the game, and it's a really fun glitch, and there are multiple ways to do it, and it returned in Spyro 3, Enter the Dragon Find a Hero's Tale, which is absolutely awesome. And yeah, this game is just a fantastic sequel. Great graphics, great music, great controls, and while it is extremely glitchy, those glitches are really, really fun, and the exploits are fun, and overall this game is just... it's amazing! Overall, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage is a fantastic game, and it's literally the perfect sequel to any game. I mean, the first game was great as well, sure, but Spyro 2, it's amazing. The graphics, amazing, if not a little glitchy. The music, amazing, just like the first game. Controls, amazing. Although they did remove the roll ability from the first game. Why, Insomniac? Why? Oh wait, I don't even care. I mean, everything about the sequel is better. The bosses, the characters, the controls, the levels, the story, everything in the sequel is better than the original. Now, there are some flaws with Spyro 2. For example, the camera can be annoying, and the fact that you need to collect orbs to beat Ripto. Actually, you don't need any orbs, because if you know what you're doing, you can literally use a skip to skip Crush, a skip to skip Gulp, and a skip to skip Ripto, which lets you beat the game, depending on how good you are at the game, in practically less than 10 minutes. Oh, and there's also a skip to get the Super Flame. And in order to get the permanent Super Flame, you practically need to collect everything. All 64 orbs and all 10,000 gems.
Or you could just be a dirty, skanky little cheater, couldn't you?
But not in the Chinese version.
It's my face and the camera.
And Dragon Shores itself, once you've collected enough orbs and gems, you can get into Dragon Shores and play 10 little fun mini-game distractions. Well, it's technically more like 4, or maybe 5-ish. I didn't count, but I think it's like 4 or 5. It's a fun little distraction from the main game that you do at the very end, and if you do all of them, you will, get to see all of the cutscenes again, if that's if you want. But overall, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, A+. One of the best games on the PS1, one of the best 3D platformers, and it's just amazing. Just go buy it right now. And I know what you're thinking, well, what about the Japanese version? Spyro to Sparks Tonde Motors? Well, guess what, guys? I'm actually not going to talk about it. Nope. If you want to know all the differences, you'll have to play the game for yourself. Sorry. But anyway, all I'm going to say is that the Japanese version removes the double jump, and yeah, that's all I'm saying. And it's slower, and you have to mash square when you swim, and it's a little bit more anime looking, even though I didn't really notice it. But anyway, that's enough. Anyway, thanks for watching my review on Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage Way to Glimmer, while going on a bunch of Tondemo tours. I hope you liked it. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. This is Big Bang Bot signing out. And I can only imagine that MikeyAngryBirds is now going to start requesting me to review Spyro 3 over and over and over again. Life beeping sucks sometimes. Anyway, goodbye. Before we leave, just look at Spyro. He's so beautiful.